This is ESPN Radio 103.7 and 1450. Zach Seyko here, and on the line today we have junior captain of the State College boys varsity lacrosse team, Carter Williams, with us. Carter, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Plenty of things that we're going to address, what kind of player you are, what got you into this sport, how the team's doing and how the season has progressed. And let's just start with that. I really want you to tell the audience, who you are as a lacrosse player, your position, the type of player you are, physical, finesse, speedy, and what your ideal performance is in a game.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been working on playing a little bit of two-way midi this year, so a little bit of offense, a little bit of defense. I'd say I'm a pretty aggressive type of player. Not so much speedy, but leave that to the rest of the guys, especially the younger ones. I'd say my ideal performance for a game is I've been getting a lot of assists lately, not so many goals, but probably say one goal, maybe 2 or 3 assists. I think on average, I'm averaging 1 goal a game, and I think just over 1 assist. So that's what it's looking like so far this year.
And that's why I wanted to ask that, because do you feel like you're more of a facilitator? Does it matter to you if you show up in the stat sheet? As long as the team wins at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say I'm more of like a, for football terms, I kind of call myself sort of the quarterback. I kind of rely on the other guys to shoot a little bit more than I do, pass the ball a little bit more, work the ball around, and get the other guys some good looks.
What got you interested in this sport? And I want that to go a little further. What makes this sport so interesting? Because I'm from Maryland, and lacrosse is incredibly popular where I'm from. In Pennsylvania, it's really starting to get its legs, and it's starting to gain that popularity and notoriety. So what got you interested in it? And then for anybody else that really isn't all that familiar or all that up to date with it, what should be interesting to them about the sport of lacrosse?
Absolutely. So I'd say what got me into it was my dad grew up playing lacrosse. He grew up in Michigan and Colorado. So he played in high school and then in college, and then introduced me to the sport at a young age. The main thing that I love about lacrosse is you'll commonly hear it referred to as the fastest game on 2 feet. So, I just love that aspect of it. It's a lot like hockey on grass. It's starting to pick up its speed here in Pennsylvania, and especially all along the East Coast. You see it starting in Maryland, like you said. You see it picking up in areas like Philly, and then it's even spreading out towards the West Coast in places like Utah. So we also have a really great youth program called State College Warriors around town that I'm sure a bunch of people have seen around. It's doing a great job of growing the game for the younger guys, and we're starting to get a little bit more interwoven with the youth program, and it's been great. It's great to have them.
The game is definitely trending in the right direction. How have you trended in the right direction as a player? How have you gotten better as a lacrosse player? What skills do you work on particularly to keep them at top notch, or other ones that you want to bring up so that you have a balanced game? Yeah,
absolutely. A lot of what I worked on in the off season was kind of like passing and shooting mechanics. A lot of guys will tell you that they overcomplicate the game, and I see that sometimes a little bit in myself, and it really just helps to go back to the basics. So, during the off season, it was a lot of just like step down shooting and getting out with the guys on the field and passing around. My coach refers to it a lot of times as a golf swing. So the more simple it is, the better it is, and the more often it works.
State College boys lacrosse varsity captain, junior Carter Williams, on the line with us. This State College team has been very good this season. Season's been very good to you guys. 11-2 at the time of this conversation. 10-2 in conference. That long winning streak that you guys have put together. What were some of the lessons from last season that helped kind of lead to this season's success? You got to go through those downs to get to the ups. Where do you think that there were the learning moments that helped you individually and then the team as a whole?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think last year we definitely had a lot of seniors graduate a lot more than this year. Something that we definitely do a lot more than last year. We're 11-2. Last year we ended up 10-5. I think we see a lot more team play this year, a lot less of guys just wanted to go get their name on the stat sheet. It's become a lot more team oriented than last year with, especially the younger guys hopping in. Like, we got a lot of guys playing. We have 2 great midi lines Last year was more like relying on the starters and the main six guys that would stay in the game a lot of times. And I think this year we have anywhere from 3 to 6 guys at every position that are super, super reliable. And it just makes it super, super easy for it to be a team-oriented game, which is what it's supposed to be.
No pun intended here, but what were some of the goals that were set by the State College team before the season? And have any of them changed given that you have, like I said at the time of this conversation, an 8-game winning streak? Because this winning streak could get longer after a conversation here, Carter, and the way the team is set up for the playoffs. So what were some of those goals in the offseason to get ready for the spring here?
Right, so 2 big goals that we did have was one of them was beat Cumberland Valley, which unfortunately we couldn't pull off this year, 13-7 loss at home, and then play for a Mid-Penn championship, which I think we're still in contention for that. A lot of things have to happen, so not sure if that's super in the picture at this point. But something that we definitely looked at after our 2 losses was we looked at the rest of our schedule, and we assessed that there should be absolutely no excuses for us not to go on this 10 or 11-game win streak. And, I mean, you see right now, 11-2, 8-game win streak. We're doing exactly what we said we would. And hopefully we're setting ourselves up for a home playoff game here eventually. We got 2 more games this week, and then that'll put us right into the district playoffs the week after, starting on Tuesday, I believe.
And that's one of the goals that have changed to at least secure that home playoff game. Has there been anything else added to the list?
Not really, besides just make the playoffs. Last year we had a first-round exit, so I think this team absolutely has the potential to go deep in these district playoffs, much further than last year.
And you talked about a little bit of the competition. Cumberland Valley, they're undefeated in conference, 14-2 overall at the time of us talking. But the Mid-Penn has some of the best, which includes State College, but Cumberland Valley, Trinity, Carlisle, Central Dauphin. What's it like to play against this loaded conference? And I could have named the rest of them because it's a long list. I'm not going to. But what's it like to play this standard of competition?
I mean, I absolutely love it. It's just Coach Kaluza hammers it. I mean, right before every game, this conference is so unpredictable. You can play any given team on any given day, and anything can happen. So that's the mentality we go into each game with. We know that any team we play, no matter the record, no matter who we play, can show up on their best day and give us their best game, and we try to do that each and every single game, no matter who we're playing. And I'd say we did a pretty good job of that so far, but it's great having this good of competition. I mean, you can't really ask for much more.
State College boys varsity lacrosse junior Carter Williams is on the line with us here on ESPN Radio. And speaking of all those talented schools that you play, they're all on your schedule. Which game so far has been the most impactful for you and maybe the team as a whole, whether it's a win or a loss? So maybe it's that Cumberland Valley game or one that you put together in this 8-game winning streak. Which one do you think about the most and why?
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I'd probably say our double overtime win versus Crestwood a couple weeks ago was 8-7. I think that game, everybody showed up, and I truly think that what separated that game from the rest of them was just like how we had to come together towards the end of the game. I mean, fighting through that first overtime, you get those butterflies, and everybody's kind of playing with their hair on fire. But our coaches did a good job of calming us down. Like, we realized, I mean, we're built for these situations. Like, we want games to be like this. I mean, we're out here having fun. Like, this is what the games are supposed to be like. These 1, 2, 3 goal games. I mean, that's really what I live for. I love games like that, and I think that game more than any of them showed the brotherhood that we have and the obstacles that we can overcome. And
that was a game where you guys were down, right?
Yeah, we were down 6-3 at halftime, I believe.
And came all the way back just to win in overtime like that, 8-7. And that was a home game, so that'll really get the crowd fired up too.
Absolutely.
Carter, once again, thank you so much for your time. I got one final question for you before I let you go. What is it like to play for Coach Kaluza and this staff? Because they ask for the best out of you guys, they expect the best out of you guys, and they're able to get it. So what is it like to play under him?
It's absolutely incredible. I mean, I'll tell anybody this. You will not find a better coaching staff in this entire state. I mean, Coach Kaluza, we have Coach Carl Kilbasa and Coach Pete Haraba, 2 guys that are, from Virginia that grew up around lacrosse. And one thing about Coach Kilbasa that a lot of people don't know is his son is a starting midfielder and captain at Army West Point, which, I mean, if you know him, he never talks about it. But you will not find a better coaching staff in this entire state. And I mean, our team does a really good job of buying into whatever they have to say and taking constructive criticism. And we trust in our coaches that they always have our best interests in mind. And I think us buying into their scheme this year has shown that with us being 11-2 right now.
Carter Williams, junior captain of the State College boys varsity lacrosse team, joining us on the phones today. Carter, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck moving forward throughout the season. I know the regular season is going to get wrapped up here. Eyes are focused on the postseason, so anything good that comes your way, I hope so for you and this team.
Thank you very much for having me.